right. Well, to introduce myself, I am the retired Troll King. I've been trolling the internet since 1996, at least. Maybe even before then. Over the years since I've been trolling, I've been to so many websites that I've trolled. It's been a kind of a flurry, mind-boggling journey, if you will. I've trolled the IRC chats back in the late 90s. I was trolling Ain't It Cool News. I trolled Stormfront. I trolled VNN, a lot of different political websites, a lot of left-leaning, right-leaning. Mostly it's been politics, but now lately I've been trying to moving away from that, more to kind of do something different, spice it up. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to read my stories because I enjoy writing. And don't laugh at me, but I do have a degree in English. So I've written a lot of stories, screenplays, novels, short stories, whatever, you name it. I've written them all, pretty much. Poems, poetry. I've done it all. Fortunately, I've never been published. They reject me. They despise me. Maybe they don't like trolls. Maybe the publishing industry doesn't like trolls, right? Yeah. Because, writing about, South Park gay cowboys eating pudding is somehow better, right? Yeah. So now, pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to write, or actually read you, the audience, some of the stories that I wrote before. Like I said, I have a lot of different genres. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of start out here, kind of just dive in. I wrote this one story. It's a science fiction story, dystopia, set in the near future. Kind of give you a background. What's happening is that kind of like economic civil unrest has occurred within the country. A lot of dystopia type stories have kind of like touched on the same things. You can see in the Hunger Games, Battle Royale, even Fallout video games, right? So what I'm going to be doing now is reading you this science fiction dystopia, and hopefully you ladies and gentlemen, kids of all ages, will be looking on here. I'm going to check the settings here to make sure the volume is okay, so you can hear me. All right, so now this story will be called Tornlacechapter, and it is in the beginning kind of like you're going to see an introduction, right? And so you're going to have this person here who is called Lace. That's her last name. And she's going through a lot of difficulties in her life because of this almost post-apocalyptic, thing that's going on here. I wrote it actually back in 2012. It's been so long ago I can't even remember which inspiration I got it from. But anyway, to dive in, here is my story, Torn Lace. Okay? Here, let me just bring it up here. All right. And this is on a E format. All right. Hold on. Here, maybe do this. Okay. Chapter 1. Transition. My fellow Americans. Clearing his throat with precise controlled movement, he continues. And I should, briefly halt here. I wrote this story in present tense. Third person, omniscient, if you will. He continues. You do not know me, not as of yet. My name is George Dean, former Lieutenant General of the United States Air Force. I'm informing you that as of 0900 or 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, the federal government has been declared by patriots all over to be defunct. As he glances down, the lieutenant shuffles parts of his speech with the same precise movements. His dark blue, 3-button coat of high-ranking military grade barely seems to budge, even with his large frame straining every fabric. Short-cropped, dual brown hair curls around his bulbous cranium in perfect geometric symmetry. His face rises in restrained excitement when he breathes out. The interior of the small office surrounding him showers enough artificial light assisting by different strains of ferns and vines scattered in the background to add at least some partial warmth to such a cold figure. And somehow, even the stage organic structure is stripped by the coldest parts of him. Steel blue eyes piercing forward are almost alien in their size and hypnotic stare. Now, I did not want this. Not any of it. I wanted us to be strong and resilient. You can all be assured of that. You're all Americans, and I will treat you as such. I and many others in the different branches of our brave military have tried to reason with President Rodriguez over the issue of eminent domain. It is true our country's issue is most pressing to be certain, but we are a sovereign nation, not beholden to foreign or domestic loan sharks who practice the most egregious of usury. We will not simply hand over our God-given right as citizens of this great country to those parasites. We will not be held collectively to a gang of money changers, corporations such as Chicom, based out of Hong Kong, and Soledad out of Dubois, to name just a few. His lips pressed tight. The lieutenant leans back in his oversized comfort chair, a bolder show of confidence. Off-stage lighting highlights a vast array of high-ranking medals lining his chest in horizontal formation. All of our pleas came to naught. Unfortunately, he was determined to go through with this blatant treason. Many large parcels of land were to be handed over, especially in the Midwest. Off-stage lighting highlights. Many large parcels of land were to be handed over, especially in the Midwest. And so, it was Scott Butler, Lieutenant General of the Army, Richard Adams, Chief Admiral of Naval Operations, and myself who disposed of his corrupt cronies, along with much of Congress in those respective states who went along with his insidious plans. It must have been like a bright light of justice, shining downwards on their lack of ethics that caused so many to flee. We were fortunate to catch as many as we did, despite our lack of resources and access to the eastern states. Going to page 3. The Creole office smoothly shifts to a clip of soldiers escorting a line of politicians from large mansions and congressional offices of different ranks. Most are half-dressed, with shocks of uncombed hair sticking out every which way. Their faces register disbelief at this unexpected scrutiny. Stirring patriotic music juxtaposed with more images of crowds of onlookers cheering wildly during the mass arrests. Scott Butler's name is in bold just below an image of him shaking hands with the well-to-do of San Diego, with its picturesque beaches as comforting as its balmy weather. Likewise for Henry Wallace, cozying up to Texans sporting stereotypical large-brimmed cowboy hats, all against oil rigs dotting the flat landscape. The images fade and return to the intimate setting of peaceful tranquility, with General Dean nodding his approval. What we uncovered will shock even the most jaded of Americans. A large cabal of our political leadership have been arrested and imprisoned over charges of participation in the trafficking of underage children, added to the existing charges of treason. Many of these children were either runaways or kidnapped right off the streets. You can only imagine for what purposes. Now, I realize many of you at home have your own loved ones nearby, so out of respect, I will furnish proof of these allegations later on, so you can see for yourselves the utter depravity these elected officials are involved with. His gaze dips. Clearing his throat with a low-sounding rumble, a gripping silence fills the audio vacuum, drowned out by the slight whispers of paper shuffling. Senator Bill Hope, Juan Manuel of the California State Legislature, House Representative Tyrone Walton, House Representative Nick Carter, and many others join this list of parasites, of which all reside in California alone. The Lieutenant General's head rises. His rigid gaze sears the camera. They, along with the rest of our political hierarchy, will stand trial for their crimes against the people. against the people of this great nation. When he angles forward with both elbows now on the desk, his fingers intertwined in front of his chest with self-assuredness. Another long exhale, then his facial expression softens into what could be construed as a plea for understanding. The awkward, rigid beginning of his speech fades away. In the coming days, more information will be released to you, the public. You have a right to know everything that has transpired to their tenure of this past administration, and you will. It is your right, your birthright. As it stands, Texas has joined cause with our new Republic of San Francisco and San Diego in breaking away from our federal overlords. It will not be long once other states and cities join our fold in restructuring the Union for the betterment of our great country. I simply ask you to stand tall with me, to walk forth with bravery in these uncertain times. A new currency will be introduced shortly to replace the dollar with the remnants of the federal government has surrendered its authority. So shop as you would, as local laws and customs still apply for now. Go about your private public business as you did just yesterday. The most immediate change will be the introduction of a new modesty law for conduct and where that addresses the perverted cultural norms perpetrated by certain elements in the media endorsed by past administrations. This may cause some justifiable contention from supporters of the First Amendment, but those protesting will fade away once the ethical benefits become apparent. And also know that I will be with you as well. Always watching over. Always there for guidance and shelter. He places two giant hands firmly on the oak wood. Pushing down, his massive body rises with an authority born out from many years of military service. A glimpse of a light blue shirt can be seen underneath his coat with a tie adding to his professional uniform. A dark nylon belt held in the middle with a silver buckle clasps this package of leadership together. God bless America, and God bless us all for helping us through these most trying of times. And that is the end of chapter 1. So you can get a glimpse of what's happening now. Clearly, the country is this looks to be the federal government. So a lot of officers are breaking away. A lot of those officers have seized power in California. Texas have seized the local politicians who, let's just say, didn't want to go along with their plans of taking over the American government, or should I say taking over parts of the American government. So right now, kind of like we're seeing a political phenomenon occurring in which the country is breaking apart in a way not seen since the Civil War. So for right now, we're getting a sense of what kind of like world building as well too. I kind of think it funny coming back to this because it's been years since I read this. So I can see that there was a little bit of structural problems, a little bit of a problem with the words. Some of the words I want to change out. But that's, I think, as far as like a writer, he's always kind of growing. You always want to try to improve your craft as much as possible. A lot of people say read a lot, write a lot as well too. That's all you can do. So I think for this episode, because this is my first stream, I'm going to cut this one short. And I'm going to kind of go back and review what I did out wrong. Because I had some problems with the OBS system on my laptop over here. So that was a real issue. So I'm going to try to work on that, so that way I like the streaming on here. Because I'm not sure as far as like, because I'm using my iPhone right now. I know a lot of people use like webcams or whatever to stream, but I just thought it'd be more convenient to just read stories what I have stored on my laptop, rather than the pain in the ass of having to print the whole fucking thing out, right, and reading it. But once again here, let me just check out the Twitch over here. Okay. Yeah, okay. So look like it's going pretty good. The audio seems to be working out. I'm in the closet. Find out if it looks like there's a time delay as well. Yeah, you can hear that. Okay, so that's a little bit of delay going on here. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna cut this one short here. Tomorrow, I will be reading chapter 2, and I think you're really gonna enjoy it. So I will be cutting out, and I will see you tomorrow. Um, I'm seeing someone at 3 o'clock, so probably I'll be streaming around 6. I'm in Denver area, so I'll be probably streaming. I think around 6 o'clock Central Time. No, Central Mountain Time. Okay, I'll be streaming 6 o'clock Mountain Time. So obviously, if you're living in San Francisco or like Los Angeles, 5 p.m. right? So anyway, that'll be it, and I will see you all tomorrow. If it's one person or nobody. Anyway, to the trolls, to the haters, to the malcontents, to the benevolents, the dictators, everyone else, I will see you tomorrow. Bye.